All right, here we go. A happy Monday to everybody. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Hope all of the faithful had a fantastic weekend. And of course, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Coming up, Niner fans get some bad news after that first preseason game. And what the Niners continue to ignore is something that has held them back the last few years. It's a philosophy that I disagree with from head coach Kyle Shanahan and general manager John Lynch, and it's something that if they don't improve on, I don't think San Francisco is going to bring back that 6th Lombardi trophy. Now let's begin glass half full with some positives, right? Because there was some good from that preseason opener against the Denver Broncos. Number one, thought the Niners backups, their number twos, did some nice things against the Broncos starters. The fact that Mac Jones was able to lead this offense down the field, as San Francisco matriculated right down the field to score an opening drive touchdown was great. You saw the 50-yard bomb from Jones to the rookie Jordan Watkins. And then that Niners defense against Bo Nix, Sean Payton, and the Broncos ones, they were flying around. They looked confident. They looked decisive. I thought that Salah was very aggressive. He showed some exotic looks. He did some creative things on the defensive side of the ball. And that's of note because keep in mind, in the preseason, you really dumb and water things down. You keep it pretty vanilla. But I think that is a sign of things to come from Robert Saleh's defense. And all of those things were what we did not see from a Nick Sorensen-led defense last year. Just based on coaching alone, I think this Niners defense is going to be worlds better in 2025 than they were in 2024, even though they're a lot younger. Better coaching leads to being able to maximize players, develop youth, put these players in a position to succeed. But one of the things that I just mentioned, better coaching leads to players being decisive, not having to overthink, not hesitating. That defense was firing on all cylinders. Some more good from Saturday. We saw flashes from some of these rookies in game action. These were rookies who the Niners drafted, who the Niners signed as UDFAs, who they're going to be relying on to have big roles in 2025 and beyond. And in moments during training camp, they have had their moments. But to see that translate to game action is very important for the current status of this football team and the future of the 49ers as an organization. We also saw some other young players show signs of life, not draftees, players who the Niners have taken in years past who were waiting to see break out and step in for some of the players who departed and left. Kalia Davis, Darrell Luter Jr., Robert Beal. We saw some flashes from those players at Levi's Stadium on Saturday night too. The backup quarterback situation, better here in 2025 than it was last year because Mac Jones is just a better option compared to Joshua Dobbs and Brandon Allen. And so when you think about some of the winners from that preseason debut against Denver, Chase Lucas had the game of his life. I think he earned a roster spot flying around the field. He told Robert Saleh, if you dial up some aggression and some blitzes, you're going to see me pop. Chase Lucas did that, and I think that he could be a player in the slot roll corner job, and that's a job that is an unknown outside of Upton Stout. But to have a depth piece there in Chase Lucas, who can also play special teams, that's a positive for this football team. Mac Jones, the 50-yard dime ball to Jordan Watkins. He had a defender at his feet. He hung tough in the pocket. He made a quick decision, and he threw a beautiful touch pass well downfield to the rookie 4th-round pick in Watkins, who not only can run 4.3, but he tracks the ball very well. We saw that on that long reception, and he's physical enough to pick up yards after the catch. Junior Bergen was taken in the 7th round by this team out of Montana, where he was one of the most electrifying punt returners in the history of FCS football. How about the 28-yard punt return he had, where he made a man miss, reversed field, and then cut it upfield for a gain of 28. He could have a role on this team as a special teamer and return man as a rookie and beyond. Sebastian Valdez has the nickname of the Hulk. He looked like the Hulk as a pass rusher and run stopper. He could be a gem for this team as a UDFA out of Washington. He should make this club. Marques Sigle is probably the most impressive rookie for San Francisco. He could be another 5th-round gem. He can play nickel corner. He can help you in dime packages. He can play safety. He started for this team at the safety spot, and with that 4.3 speed, he was flying around. He looks to be a player. Corey Kiner, UDFA running back out of Cincinnati. Really good contact balance, ability to pick up yards after contact. I think that he has an NFL future. Darrell Luter Jr. had a superb pass breakup going up against the Broncos' #1 wide receiver in Courtland Sutton, where he ran with him, then climbed the ladder to bat that ball away. And then the aforementioned Kalia Davis, Robert Beal. These are players who have talent. Kalia Davis is well over 300 pounds. He has some twitch to him at defensive tackle, hasn't been able to stay healthy. But he was really good on Saturday night. And then Robert Beal, all we heard coming out of Georgia, fast get off, explosive first step. It hasn't resulted in any positive plays in actual game action. But then on Saturday night, we certainly saw that. Could he be a depth piece at edge rusher for San Francisco? A player like Alfred Collins, he is 6'5", 330 with incredible length. While he didn't register a quarterback pressure and his numbers weren't gaudy, you could see his impact on the field against the run, absorbing double teams, demanding attention, and being able to be disruptive, push the pocket, and his impact was felt beyond just the box score. Don't be casual. And then C.J. West, 4th-round pick defensive tackle. The Niners are going to rely on Alfred Collins. They're going to rely on C.J. West. You saw the violent hands. You saw the quick get-off. And like Alfred Collins, didn't register a quarterback pressure, but his impact was seen and felt. All of these are positives for San Francisco. And that's without us seeing the 1st-round pick in Mykel Williams, who has had a really good training camp on top of a very good spring. That's without seeing the rookie 4th-round pick running back Jordan James, who has had some flashes so far throughout camp and during rookie minicamp, OTAs, and mandatory minicamp. Upton Stout has stolen the show at Niners training camp. Outside of Ricky Pearsall, he's maybe been the most impressive player. He didn't even play in that game because of a calf issue, but he, I think, week 1 is going to be the starting slot corner. He has ball skills, 4.4 speed. He's tenacious, brings some swagger to this Niners defense. All of those are good signs. But I can't keep it positive for too long because a negative that we saw once again, bad offensive line play from the San Francisco 49ers. And I've seen some fans who have responded to my tweets where I've been very critical of the Niners with this offensive line, going all the way back to 2021 saying, Chase, you're a hater. Offensive line play was just fine. Oh, yeah? How about the recently retired John Feliciano, who was with this team the last 2 years, who retired because of a knee injury and didn't play last year because of it, tweeted this out. Tell John to call me. Even he, who has defended this Niners offensive line at times, acknowledges this offensive line isn't in a great spot. And if John Lynch were to call him, Feliciano seems as though he's open to playing to at least be a backup offensive lineman for this team. Not great. Now, I have a lot more to get to here coming up just around the corner, but I do want to tell you about these Fred Warner jerseys. They are on sale right now, 20% off. Rarely do you see a deal this great for a player's jersey who is this elite like Fred Warner. And what I love about this jersey, it is timeless. You can wear the number 54 Fred Warner jersey for the rest of your life. You can rock this jersey in 40 years. And I'll walk up to you, other people will walk up to you and say, Fred Warner, All-Pro Fred, number 54, dog. Get your jerseys now. Chatsports.com/Warner. Limited time does that deal apply for as long as supplies last. So a couple of tweets that I sent out after that preseason opener on Saturday night, and just seeing how the offensive line depth struggled against Denver's really good front. Keep in mind that Denver defense, one of the top overall units in the National Football League last year, and this just continues to be a glaring problem for San Francisco. And it really is a philosophical, organizational approach that I don't understand. And so I tweeted this out, and it did like 150,000 impressions, and it got the fan base going. And I just want to add some thoughts on top of it. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and the 49ers continuing to ignore offensive line and offensive line depth is organizational malpractice. And a big reason I say that is because of this. Kyle Shanahan as a play caller, Kyle Shanahan as a play designer is elite. He is a top 5 coach in the NFL. His offensive production, seemingly every single year, has been awesome. Even last year, when the eye test told us and showed us that the Niners offense struggled, that it was a really difficult watch because they were bad on third down, in the red zone. They had a lot of injuries. They were so Jekyll and Hyde, up and down. They lacked rhythm. They were still the 4th best overall offense in the NFL, all things considered. So my issue is that if the Niners were dominant up front, if they invested in the offensive line, can you imagine how much greater they would be if they were stout along the offensive line on top of Kyle Shanahan's influence and all of the talent that they have? That's what drives me crazy, because bad offensive line play has cost this team in the biggest of games the last few years under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. And some people clap back at me saying, Chase, the offensive line is fine. They have some all-pros and Pro Bowlers there. All right. The 49ers aren't close enough to being good at left guard. Ben Bartch, he's a journeyman for a reason. They are average at best at center, and they are okay to solid at right tackle. If Trent Williams or Colton McKivitz got hurt at offensive tackle, they would be screwed. They are not good enough. They waited until the 7th round to address the offensive line in the 2025 NFL draft. And I don't want you to pee on my leg and tell me that it's raining. Don't tell me that it's all good. Chris Forster, offensive line coach, don't tell me that Jake Brendel is an all-pro. If he were to go up against Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, or Jalen Carter, they would eat his lunch. Some of the top interior offensive linemen going up against Ben Bartch during game planning, during film study, they're probably salivating. When some of the top pass rushers go up against the likes of Colton McKivitz, like we've seen with TJ Watt and other premier pass rushers, they dominate him on that side of the line of scrimmage. And so when I call these things out, people will say, you're too negative, you're a hater. Too many Niner fans act like the Niners can do nothing wrong. This is a team that has not won a Super Bowl since 1994. And it is my belief that bad offensive line play has cost them on numerous occasions in the biggest of games against the stiffest of competition, which has kept them from getting that vaunted 6th Lombardi trophy. So pointing out the Niners' flaws in their offensive line philosophy isn't being a hater. It is referencing something that has hurt them time and time again. And some people have said they have invested in the offensive line. Look, don't wait until the 7th round to draft an offensive lineman when it's an issue, especially when all good businesses, right? They plan for the future. They have foresight. The Niners have a 37-year-old left tackle who could retire at any moment. They have a right tackle who is a pending free agent. Yet they have 0 young, promising, developmental pieces at the offensive tackle spots. A couple of years ago, they used a 3rd-round pick on a kicker, and they did not take an offensive lineman. You want to talk about not having your priorities straight? Are you kidding me? Now, Sean McVay, as part of this Kyle Shanahan tree, over time has changed his offensive line philosophy. Kyle Shanahan has not. And he continues to ignore the offensive line. He believes that he can scheme around it. You might be able to scheme around it against mediocre to average opponents, not against the best teams in the playoffs when you're going up against elite defensive lines. I am a firm believer that football games oftentimes are won and lost in the trenches. A lot of NFL players and coaches would agree with me, and the Niners do emphasize defensive line, which is why it's even crazier. They don't prioritize the offensive line. And Kyle Shanahan continues to be very stubborn in this regard. You have to be willing to adapt and evolve. Sean McVay has. He realized with this outside zone, just imagine how much greater we could be with good offensive line play that is sound. Kyle Shanahan says, you know what? We'll be able to scheme around it. And I don't think the Niners will win a Super Bowl until they prioritize offensive line. And if Kyle Shanahan, throughout his Niners tenure, gets fired and doesn't win a Super Bowl, it could be because of his stubbornness and his unwillingness to invest in such a critical position group, which once again got exposed in the preseason. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I'm talking Niners every single day here on YouTube. But if you give me a follow over there, I'm reaching millions of people with additional content. So you get more from me and you get to stay in the know with all things San Francisco.